Hello, everybody. Hello. I hope there are some people out there. I'm sorry I was running a few minutes late. Lindsay hasn't made it yet. She probably thinks it's 8:15 because Tuesday was supposed to be 8:15 and originally it was going to be 8. And so, bless her heart, I've just confused her to death because I thought I only made it 8:15 for Tuesday because I realized I had to work till 7:30. Today I didn't have to work. I had book club today. But welcome everybody. Welcome to the Little House live stream, Little House Readathon live stream. Lindsay will probably be here by 8:15. I'm gonna guess because she probably thinks it's 8:15, and that is all fine. So meanwhile, we can go ahead and say hello to everybody. Be sure that you chime in to the chat and say hello and let me know who's here. Hey, Kat, how are you doing? And also in the chat, let me know what you read, like what Little House related books, a book or books that you have read this week. Even like not just within the 4 days, but what have you read any this month, really? If you started early and you've kept reading or read more up until today, that will be totally fine. Because I'll have to be quite frank, I did not get Farmer Boy done until literally that's part of the reason I was late because I had it on 3 times speed just trying to get to the end. I mean, I've read it probably 3 times before, maybe more than that, but I was just wanting to refresh myself. And so I was listening to it, and I could have listened to it earlier today, but I forgot that I hadn't finished it yet. And so I had book club today, and I finished my book club book yesterday. And then I went back to my buddy read book that I'm reading with Mr. Francie, and I listened to some of that today and commented. And then I started a new book because I completely forgot that I needed to go back to Farmer Boy. So anyway, I have finished it now. So, yes, let me know in the comments what you guys have been reading. I'll tell you. Well, I'm waiting for everybody to chime in. So I did read Farmer Boy. I just listened to it on Everand. I did show my little cassette tape set. I do own that, and I have listened to it on the cassette before, but it was just faster to listen to it on Everand. I'm sure it's probably on Hoopla too, but this way I didn't use a borrow. And so I just listened to it on Everend. But anyway, does anyone have this edition of Farmer Boy? It's like the set with the stripes here on the end, and then look at the scene on the back. I love that. When I was growing up, I had the yellow paperbacks. And in that edition, Farmer Boy was listed as number 2. These are actually not numbered. My mom bought these, and here's my mom's name, Frances. She bought these like obviously as an adult, later when I was probably already an adult. And because after I took my copies that she had bought for me as a kid, after I, kept those with me, she wanted her own copies. So this one says 1961. So it could possibly be, but I have a feeling that these are not that old because, I mean, she got these from a publisher. Goodness, I don't know. It was not 1961. I wasn't even born in 1961, and she did not have these when I was growing up. So whether they had just been sitting in a warehouse somewhere, I don't know. But, she might have gotten these at Mansfield. Maybe. I know we got the Rose years at Mansfield. Anyway, I have this set that was my mom's, and my others are packed away because they were not built to last. They started just falling apart. So these are better quality. And then during the actual 4 days, I listened to Prairie Man, My Little House, Life, and Beyond. And then after it was over, this morning and yesterday morning and the morning before that, I read, there's 6 stories in this book. Mitzi gave me this for Christmas. And so actually today's Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday. Yeah. So yeah, on Tuesday, we read them a little out of order, but they're in here out of order. They're not Okay, so here, this is interesting. I got to thinking, these are not chronological. They're not chronological as far as the Little House books are concerned, but they are chronological as far as Laura Ingalls' life is concerned. And if you don't know, I'll tell you why. So the first book in here is A Little Prairie House. Excuse me, I got to sneeze. Sorry. Goodness. If I was filming a video, I would edit that part out, but I'm on a live, so I can't do that. Then the next one, well, really, all of the rest of them after that are set in Pepin, except for the one that's about Almanzo. So we read this one on Tuesday, A Little Prairie House, and that's about the building of their house in Kansas. And then we skipped over the second one and we read County Fair, which I think is the only one written about Almanzo. And we read that one. Then we went back, and the next one is called Going to Town, and it's set in the Big Woods. And then the other three, Sugar Snow, Winter Days in the Big Woods, and Christmas in the Big Woods, are all set in the Big Woods. So if you don't know, and most of y'all probably do if you're diehard Laura fans, they actually lived in the Big Woods twice. So Laura probably doesn't have any memory of her first, her being born in the Big Woods. But then they moved to Independence, and then they moved back to the Big Woods. So what I have read is that her memories, like what she wrote about Pepin and the Big Woods, is actually what she remembers from when they went back. But in her chronology of the books, she wrote it like as if they went from Pepin to Independence, Kansas, and then from there went to Plum Creek, when actually they went back to the Big Woods. So it's not in the chronology of the books, but it is chronologically in order of her actual life, which is kind of interesting. All right, so let's catch up with the comments. I don't see Lindsay here. If I get to talking and she happens to message in the comments, then somebody try to get my attention. Hopefully I will see her when she comes. I was checking she usually messages me on Instagram, and I haven't gotten anything from her today, and it's 8:14 now, so hopefully she will be here. Anyway, so let's start with the comments. So Kat says, hey. Danielle says, hi. Alicia, hello. Hi. And Veronica, hello, welcome. And Alicia says, read Farmer Boy, loved. Had you read it before? And if not, let us know. Let us know if that was your first time. I read Farmer Boy, and I really think it's the first time I've ever read it. I enjoyed it. Yay, I'm so glad. I don't know if you'll watch Paola from Reading in Darkness. She was there's Sweetie over there. She was telling me that she always skipped Farmer Boy because it wasn't about Laura. And I was always tempted to, but I don't think I ever did skip it. And I said, so have you ever read it? And she's like, nope, this is going to be my first time. And I was like, oh my goodness, that is funny. So Danielle says, I read Little House in the Highlands and listened to Farmer Boy. Excellent. So is that the first one in the Martha years? I think that's Martha years, right? Let me see. Little House in the Highlands. I think that's the first one, right? Martha years. Yeah. First one in the Martha years. And so here's what I want to do next year. I want to do at least the Martha years as a group read or as a read along in next February. So everybody try your best to get all 4 books, because those are all gettable. It's that last Charlotte book that is rare, that's really hard to get. I don't want anybody to go and spend a lot of money, but check and see if your library has them. And I'll tell you what I would do is, if your library has any of them, check them out now, even if you're not ready to read them, because that helps keep them in the system. If you check them out and hold on to it for a couple of weeks, then it's going to look like you're reading it. And then next time the library staff comes through to weed things out, they'll go, oh, this one's been checked out recently. Okay, we'll keep it longer. And that, I think, is helpful, because if things don't get checked out, then they don't keep them. Storm, hey, I'm trying to read Farmer Boy, not liking it much. 45% in and going to finish. Oh, good for you. It is on audio. Are you listening on audio? It was not ever my favorite when I was, a kid, because it wasn't about Laura, and I just wanted to read about Laura. I appreciate it a lot more now as an adult. One thing that still kind of bothers me, and maybe that's just, I don't know, were his parents immigrants? I don't understand why they would say, like, how you be, and was that just how people talked in upstate New York back then? I mean, it must be, because Laura didn't write in that, what is it, vernacular? Is that the way to say it? But in Farmer Boy, they would say that, like, you be instead of you are, or you am, or I am. It was I be. And I wondered about that. That always kind of is startling when I hear that, when I haven't read Farmer Boy in a while, and I go back to it and I'm like, oh, I forgot that. That's okay, whatever. And you're listening to it. Okay. All right, good. And so you can speed it up, and it's not very long. I reread 4 books, including Farmer Boy, and I'm reading Little House Cookbook. Awesome, Amy. That's great. That's great. And so from the Little House Cookbook, have you picked out anything that you think you might cook or bake or prepare? There's a pie in there. I think that, well, when Lindsay comes on, we'll have to ask her what is it, there a vinegar pie? I don't know. I don't have it here in front of me. I've got it over there somewhere, the cookbook. Actually, let me see. I think I've got it right here. I've got a dog in here that's blocking the pathway. So here's my Little House Cookbook copy. There was some kind of pie that Lindsay made, and she said it was really good, as I recall. Interesting. So instead of your usual cookbook categories, we have food in the little houses, the cook's domain, staples from the country store, foods from the woods, wilds, and water, foods from tilled fields, foods from gardens and orchards, foods from the barnyard, thirst quenchers, and treats. That's interesting. Let me see. That would probably come under treats, right? So yeah, it has recipes, but it also has narrative along with it. Not like excerpts from the books, but just like things about it. Like that section was about lard and cracklins, dried apple and raisin pie. There's an apple pie recipe, a green pumpkin pie. I thought there was, well, anyway, it would be an interesting endeavor to make some of these foods. It would be kind of fun. Anyway, yeah, Little House Cookbook. I've read it cover to cover before, but not recently. All right. I grew up with the yellow paperbacks. They had belonged to some of my aunts before me. Awesome. And so Danielle, what is your age range? Are you like in your 30s? Because I think I gave, because my niece is in her 30s. Actually, I think she just turned 40. And I had a bunch of Nancy Drew books when I was younger, and I gave those to her. So if I'm thinking if you were somewhere around her age, then, then your aunt would be, maybe close to my age. And she would have had the same yellow paperbacks as me. All right. So let's see. Kat says, that's the exact edition I borrowed from the library. I read it physically and listened to it on Libby. Awesome. Are you talking about the cookbook or the Farmer Boy? Is that, not sure. Veronica says, my husband bought the whole hardcover Little House set for Christmas about 25 years ago. I treasure them. Yeah, that's probably about when my mom got hers, really. Maybe maybe more like 30. She died in 2008, but we got married 26 years ago. And I feel like she got them before I got married and had them. Oh, God bless you. I'm not sure who you're saying it to. Maybe everyone. Oh, hey, here is Paola. I was just telling him how you said you had not read Farmer Boy until now. So what did you think of it? And she said she just finished Prairie Fires and Rose is Unhinged. So that book definitely does not show Rose in a very good light. I don't you have to just consider the source, and there are some sources that show her in a better light than others. I'm sure there's some truth in all of it, and not any one of them is exactly correct. So I don't have, I feel like there are some writers who try to make a big deal out of like it was something wrong for Rose to edit and help her mother write. I don't think so at all. I don't think we would have the books we have today if she hadn't, because Rose was the writer of the family. So I don't think there was anything wrong with that. Hey, Donna, howdy, Elizabeth, and everyone. I finished Plum Creek. Phew, what a wild ride. So many life-threatening happenings. I know, when she had to cross that, the creek, my goodness, that was scary. For sure. Lisa, hi, Lisa. She says, I read this as a young girl and then again 5 years ago. I liked it then, but this time I listened to the LibriVox audio version. The narrator, Cherry Evans, was great. I loved it this time through. Awesome. So, because sometimes the LibriVox versions are a little bit monotone, but sometimes they're good. I've got a little coffee here. We had just had dinner a few minutes ago. All right. So now, interestingly enough, the most of the audio versions, like the official audio versions, are done by Cherry Jones, and she has a very pleasant voice, and she has narrated all the Little House books. Pella says, haven't gotten to it yet. You got too caught up in Prairie Fires. Oh my goodness. Don't you skip out on it. You need to do, you need to read it. And we're going to do trivia about Farmer Boy. And I don't know where Lindsay is. She may have just forgotten, and that happens. So it's all good. We will proceed as planned, and it will be no problem. Something may have come up, and that is fine. Danielle says, I would love to reread it next year. It was really good. To reread, I forgot. So here's what would help me if y'all would just go ahead and restate exactly what you're talking about, because with different people talking about different things, my memory's terrible. So let me know what particular book that you're talking about. Did Laura write the Martha years? No, she did not. And I don't know if the author who wrote them, if that's a pen name or not. It's interesting in that there's 3 different authors. Melissa Wiley is credited for the Martha and Charlotte years. And she also has some other books that are credited to her. And then the Caroline years have 2 separate authors, but they are all 3 authors. Their names start with W-I-L. So with a name like W-I-L, they will be always on the shelf right after the Wilder books. So they will always be together on whatever shelf. If they're in alphabetical order, there's rarely going to be anything that's going to come between them, and they're going to be on the same shelf. So Melissa Wiley may very well be her name. And then when she couldn't do the Caroline years, they, hired, it must be 2 different people, because I don't know why they would, in the middle of a series, just change the author's name if it was one ghostwriter. So it could have been a team of people. I don't know. But Cecilia Wilkes is one, and I can't remember the other one. Let me see. So the Caroline years, Maria D. Wilkes, sorry, and Celia Wilkins. So they're both WILK. The first the first four are, and I can show you these. When I was on here the other night, I figured out how to share my screen and everything. So let me just share my screen so you can see these in case you have not. Excuse the dogs in the background. Let me try to remember now how to do it. Let me turn that off and share my screen. All right, can y'all see that? No. Hang on. I have to select it and then share. Okay. Now then, there we go. Okay, so we have Little House in Brookfield, Little Town at the Crossroads, Little Clearing in the Woods, and On Top of Concord Hill. Those are credited to Maria D. Wilkes. And then we have Across the Rolling River, Little City by the Lake, and A Little Town of Their Own. And that's where, that's the love story of Caroline and Charles. And those are credited to Celia Wilkins. But the last names are so strategic that they have to be pen names. They just have to be. And they're even strategic enough that the series is going to be in order, Wilkes comes before Wilkins alphabetically. So that if somebody was a real stickler for, putting everything in alphabetical order, then they're going to be able to do that. So anyway, even down to the title, Across the Rolling River is A, and A Little City is going to come before A Little House, alphabetically. So, it's just way too strategic for it to be an accident. I just feel like. So anyway, so that's the Caroline years. There's 7 of those. Now the Charlotte years, there's 4 of these, and that's the only one I think that has a different edition. There is an edition that looks like the others, but that's a newer one. So it was published like twice. Or maybe that's an older one, and then these are the newer ones, because this says 2001 and that says 1999. I don't know. Anyway, but this last one here, Across the Pudding Stone Dam, if you look on eBay for that, you can't find it for less than $50. It's just rare. So I have just held out because I see these randomly in various places, and I just know that if I just keep my eyes open, somewhere, somebody who doesn't sell online will just have it, or it'll get donated to a library book sale. And, they don't have time to look any of that stuff up, most libraries. And I'll just find it randomly, and I will be praising the Lord because that's the only one I don't have. Now, I do have multiples of several of the others, and I would be willing to do giveaways and to share. I have offered to share with Lindsay first, but I think she said she has them all. And I had also promised some to Naomi because she does not have all of them. But I have multiples of several. So I'm more than happy to share so that people can get them if you want them. But you can find them. You just have to keep your eyes open for them. So, okay, let me stop sharing and come back. I still don't see Lindsay. All right, she may have forgotten. I don't know where I got to. All right. She says, I'm not familiar with Martha and the others. So, yay. So now you are. Danielle says it's by Melissa Wiley. Yeah, and there's a couple of other little prairie type books that are credited to her as well. Storm says, I just don't like the day-to-day type books much, though I didn't mind the first book in the series. So maybe when I get to the next book, I'll be okay. Well, I feel like they're all kind of that style, though, day-to-day style. That's just kind of Laura's style. So, and they may not be for you. And, if they're not for you, don't worry about it. You don't have to read it. I appreciate you being supportive and participating, but really, if they're not for you, then don't worry about it. Farmer Boy makes me hungry. I've heard that too. Yeah, the stacks of pancakes and all the food talk. Oh my goodness, there's so much food talk. because they're him and his brother, they're growing boys, and so they got to eat. Hello, Colonel Mustard in the library. Good to see you. So Amy said, yes, I'd like to make Laura's little maple cakes from the My Little House cookbook. Awesome. Awesome. That sounds good. Oh, and so you're 45. Okay. So yeah, you're just a little bit older than my niece. I think she may be 41 now. It's terrible that I don't know. But she's somewhere early 40s. And so your aunt may very well be close to my age. I just turned 60. She says you have both cookbooks. Okay, so yeah, I thought there were two different ones, because I've seen two different ones that seemed different. They both seem different from each other. The Farmer Boy edition is what you're referring to. I keep saying I'm going to buy the series. Oh, thank you. I had a feeling somebody probably did. Thank you. And that's what you said. God bless you. Okay, I got you now. And when you actually typed it in. Oh, that's funny. Thank you so much. So she says, Bella says, oh no, I have no issue with editing the books. That's the least problematic thing about her. Oh, okay. So what are your issues with Rose? Just like my issue was with her was taking did she take money from them when she was the one making it? I kind of felt like that. And just, I don't know, her lifestyle was just very different, and they were just down to earth, and she was this city girl. But I think she came back and lived with them. Oh, and I did think it was kind of wrong for her to, she thought she was doing this big thing and building them a house, but really I think she just wanted their house. So she built them a house and moved them out to this other house that they didn't even want, and then moved into their house. Yeah, that was weird. I would love to reread the Martha years next year. Oh, good. So yeah, why don't we plan on this? I may get some pushback because it's not readily available. But if the Martha Years is at least on Open Library where everybody could get it, let's say that's our group read. And then for anybody who can get it and wants to continue on throughout the month and read that series, let's do that. And if you absolutely can't find one anywhere, message me. You can email me, Lizzie Faye Loves Books, and tell me if you like it, or if you have one or two and you're like missing one or something. Let me know, and I'll see about trying. If the one you're missing is one I have duplicates of, then I will certainly help you out. All right. I would like to reread the whole series this year. It's been many years since I've read them and loved them. So, Veronica, what I was thinking is I thought it would be neat to just spend a year, not that I'll ever do it, but to read them all chronologically. So start with Martha, and then Charlotte, and then Caroline, and then the Laura books, and then the Rose books. And in between all of that, there's a few like nonfiction kind of things. And then very last of all, after the Rose books, would be this one. Now, Debbie Faust mentioned this the other day, and I couldn't put my hand on it. West from Home is set in 1915. These are letters that Laura wrote home to Almanzo when she went to visit Rose in San Francisco. And so this is the very last thing that Laura wrote in the chronology of everything. I mean, she didn't put this together as a book. This was later edited by Roger Lee McBride and put in book form. But, in the whole chronology of things, that would be the last thing. Now, then there are also writings that she wrote for the Missouri Ruralist and things like that. And those are in another book. Sonia gave me a copy for Christmas, but I already had one. And so that second one, I might do that as a giveaway next year. And that is some of her writings that she wrote for a magazine before she started writing the Little House books. Hello, Anne. I'm still finishing Farmer Boy. I've been really enjoying it. When I read it as a child, I hurried through it because I wanted to get back to Laura's story. I know. So I don't remember much. And, as many times as I've read it, which is not really that many, I'm sure there are plenty of people who've read it more than me, I still forget things. There's so many things that, I would think would stick with me, and I forget them. Like, just one of the last things was about him finding the wallet and how that man treated him, and that was right at the end. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, good. You love the thrill of hunting for books. Me too. And if you just keep your eyes open, every time you go in a library sale or to a used bookstore or anything, just remember to check the kids' books, check the middle grade books, check if they have a separate section for children's classics. And I almost always ask, and even if they don't think they have any, I still go and look, because they kind of look the same on the shelves, and they all say Little House. So if the bookseller is not familiar, then there may be some. Oh, I skipped. I'm sorry. So sorry. I tried to find Farmer Boy a few weeks ago when you mentioned it. Could not even find it at the library. Oh no. Today I went to the thrift store and found 6 of the books. Oh, that's excellent, Dee. Hello. I don't think I've met you before. I love your profile picture. Those look so, those cookies made with decorated with Pyrex. That is adorable. Have you ever met Sonia from Sonia with an I? Because she says she has a what is it? A dish order because she collects old Pyrex and stuff like that. She would absolutely love that your thumbnail. Anyway, so you found 6 different books, not 6 copies of Farmer Boy, but 6 of the books. That's fantastic. Yay. So glad. Paola said, I found 2 Little House podcasts. One is called Wilder on the Prairie, where they go over the books chapter by chapter. Yay. And the other one's called Wilder. It's more of a documentary style. Yay. That's awesome. So Dean Butler, he did a documentary, and excuse me, I forget the name of his. He did one several years back, and then PBS did one later where they interviewed him, and I think Melissa Gilbert and Alison Arngrim, and he said that he really enjoyed that one too. But those are just like documentary things. But yours are actual podcasts that you found. I'm going to look those up. What were they on Audible? I know you use Audible a lot. So is that where you found them? Because I would be interested in looking those up. So Donna says, my library does not carry the Martha Years in any form except for the Highland book. All are expensive on Amazon. Yeah, I know. All are available on Open Library at present. Okay, so if they're on Open Library and it's not just the preview like it is with Farmer Boy Goes West, then everybody should be able to access them. As long as everybody can access them. I mean, I know it's kind of a pain to have to sit at your computer and read through it, although you could probably pull it up on your phone too, and instead of like an ebook, it's more like a snapshot of the pages, and then you just click through and you see the image of the page, I think is how they do it. So I thought I was going to read Farmer Boy Goes West on Open Library, and when I finally sat down to actually read it, it was just a preview. So in the end, I ended up ordering it from Better World Books, and it's on the way. It said I just got the notification that it's been shipped. So if it gets here in time, I'll go ahead and read it this month. But I was not able to read it for the readathon, sadly. And Apple Podcasts is where Paola found it, but I guess they can be on any platform. Okay, yeah, I'll look for that. And Ann says, if one is trying to find Farmer Boy, it's on Kindle Unlimited right now. Oh, that's great. I don't have Kindle Unlimited, but the next time they offer like a big sale where you can get a couple of months free, I'm going to go ahead and jump in on that and get it, because I finally have gotten myself to reading more ebooks. But I have several that I had purchased over the years that I needed to read, some box sets and things. So I'm finally getting in the habit of picking up my Kindle and reading off of it every day, so I could justify Kindle Unlimited now. But before, I was not using it enough to justify the cost. So, all right. Do y'all want to do a little bit of trivia? So I have this Little House trivia book, and it has questions from all of the main Little House books that were written by Laura. And we have in previous years done the questions for Little House in the Big Woods. And we have, and Paola, I see your question. I will get back to that, but I'm going to do this next, and then we'll talk about that one in a minute. So I think we've done Little House on the Prairie, and we've done The Long Winter last year, because The Long Winter was our book last year. So we decided then to come back to Farmer Boy this year. And let me find it. The questions are kind of hard. So if Lindsay was here, I would give her first crack at guessing. And she usually knows them. I mean, she's good. She's really a Little House expert, y'all. You should go and subscribe to her channel, Lindsay Reads. Well, let me look at let me see if there's a table of contents. No, there's not. And I know that the order, this is the third. The order of them has the Farmer Boy questions third. Sorry, dead air. All right, why? Oh, I was not looking at the right place. Okay. They're just on little, I thought there would be like a title, like a chapter heading, but there's not. There's just a little placard at the bottom. Okay, here we go. Oh, this one is easy. All right. So in what state does El Manzo live in? And you can just type in the chat. While I will catch up with this while I'm waiting. Paula said, did you hear Netflix is doing an adaptation of the books? I did a video about it. I have not got a chance to watch your video, but I know you mentioned that to me. So I will go and watch that. So everyone go over and watch Paula's video about that. Subscribe to her channel. It's Reading in Darkness. And have they cast it? Are they like filming it right now? Or is it still in the early stages? You'll have to let us know. I'm sure you said all that in the video. Oh, you put the cookies as I put the cookies as my thumbnail. I didn't make these. Didn't want my photo on it. Oh, okay. Yes, different books, but I'm missing The Big Woods, The Long Winter, and The Little Town on the Prairie. Yeah, absolutely nothing wrong with not having your photo on it. There's quite a few people that don't want their photo, especially if they don't do videos. They just want to have, and it's nice if they just the letter to have something that kind of shows your personality, something that you enjoy. So absolutely, I love that. So yeah, I love the cookies as your profile picture. So you didn't make them. That would be fun though. I am not good at decorating cookies. Now my husband, who really is not a cook or a baker or anything, he can decorate cookies and use all these different colors and he could do that. I don't know how he does it, but you know, we have the cookie dough out there and the cookies, and I'll turn around twice and he'll have these fancy cookies decorated. I'm like, how did you do that? Oh, so she says, no worries, I'm taking off now so I don't get spoiled. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, good idea. So that yeah, she's like, I want to read the book and know nothing. Good. That's smart. All right. So Danielle says, New York, you are correct, but we'll just see who all is correct. Yes, everybody is correct. Awesome. And Donna says, checking open library for the Marthas. They're all listed as audio. But see, it's really not audio. It would just be that you can have the robot read it to you, I think. So the last three say null and do not come up when selected. Only Highland seems to be available on Open Library. Oh, that's too bad. Man, why do they got to make it so hard? That is just not fair. Anne says, does anyone know why in Sets of Farmer Boy is, oh, yes, kind of. I'll tell you what I think, why I think Farmer Boy is the third book in some sets and the second book in others. So it was the second book that she wrote. But in 1974, the Little House on the Prairie TV show aired, and, you know, there was a decision to call it Little House on the Prairie. And at the time, the Little House books had Little House on the Prairie as the third book. And I think that the publishers wanted to capitalize on, you know, they thought, oh, they're coming out with a show. We better, you know, this is our chance to sell books. And if the Little House on the Prairie book was the third in the series, people might be less likely. They might say, oh, well, I don't want to start as the second. I don't want to start the third book in the series. And because it really doesn't matter, Farmer Boy can be read anywhere. I think they made the decision to repackage them and republish them with Little House on the Prairie as the second book, because then it's less daunting to look at the series and go, oh, okay, well, I can read one out of order, or I can read one book before I get to Little House on the Prairie. That's no problem. But if it was third, it would just seem like it would be that much like unreachable to read, you know. Does that make sense? I think that's why. Now, I don't know from anybody, but no one in any authority has told me that. Although I have talked to HarperCollins in the past, but I've talked to them asking them to please republish the Martha, Charlotte, and Caroline books, please, because people want to read them and you can't get them. And they say, I'm sorry, at this time we have no plans to to bring those out again. I said, I understand that to do a print run would be expensive, but honestly, ebook would really not. I can't see that would be that costly to do that. And I know that people would buy them on ebook. So anyway, there is in one of my older videos, one of my older Little House videos, there is an email address that you can send. I think it's like publicity at harpercollins.com or harpercollins.com/publicity, something to that effect. And you can write to them and say, I would like to read these books. Y'all own the rights to them. Would you please at least publish them on ebook? Something to that effect. But yes, so in the 70s, when the show was first out, and that is the sets that came out, like that yellow set that I got as a kid in the 70s, Farmer Boy is listed as number 3, and Little House on the Prairie is number 2. And so that's always the order I thought they were until I started doing BookTube. And one of my subscribers said, yeah, I'm reading book 2, Farmer Boy. And I was like, book 2, Farmer Boy, what are you talking about? And so I looked it up, and sure enough, that was the second book she wrote. And so, I had no idea. All right, let's see. Next question. I don't know this one. Who is Mr. Corse? Corse. I'll even let you see it here. Who is Mr. Corse? I don't know. I'm going to peek. And also think that this does go, I think, in in chapter order of the book. So Mr. Corse is someone who was early in the book. I'd love to buy all the spinoff books in ebook. Yeah, I'm sure they would sell. I'm sure that whatever it would cost to put them on ebook, they would make that back without any problem. The school teacher. Yes. School teacher is correct. And you said the man who wanted to apprentice Almanzo. It is Almanzo, but the show got it wrong. It is actually Almanzo. So no, it is the school teacher is the correct answer. It says there's even a little clip here. This year, the teacher was a slim, pale young man. His name was Mr. Corse. He was gentle and patient and never whipped little boys because they forgot how to spell a word. And so, of course, we know that he did end up having to get the whip out when the older boys came to make trouble. And it was great that Almanzo's father kind of gave him a heads up and supported that. Not that I would support that kind of corporal punishment, but in that day and age, what else was he going to do? That was because it was self-defense, really. And he had to establish order. So, because, he was it, as far as, he didn't have an administrator backing him up or anything like that. All right. So, number 3, what is the name of the town near Almanzo's farm? This one I know. So, yeah, Casrick, the teacher that stayed with Almanzo's family. He changed his tune about whipping. He had to, because what else was he going to do? All right. So, does anyone know the name of the town? Yep. First one that came in was correct. Malone. Ding, ding, ding. Malone, New York. All right. What does Almanzo pack the ice in to keep it cold? I do remember this one. And just a little note as I turned the page, it said Malone was 5 miles away, but Father never started till 30 minutes before church time. So it probably did take 30 minutes to go 5 miles in a buggy. And yes, Danielle, sawdust. Buried in sawdust, the blocks of ice would not melt in the hottest summer weather. Yeah. So I wonder, it seems like, I guess the ice was to, it wasn't like to cool down their drinks like we use ice for. It was for their ice boxes to keep things cold and stuff, I suppose. So it doesn't really have to be sanitary, because I'm thinking, how could you use ice that's covered in sawdust? But it literally was just to help keep things cold. All right. What color are star and bright? What color are star and bright? Let me see how many questions there are. Yeah, and just because Danielle answered last time, I'll get Anne's answer. Yes, red. Red is correct. Danielle, you're fast. You're fast with the answers. Okay, next question. What does Almanzo say to his calves to make them turn left? So remember, there was something for right and something different for left. So what did he say to make them turn left? And honestly, if you remember either, go ahead and say it. I think if you remember either one without looking, then I think you're good. So Danielle, is all this coming out of your head, or do you have your book in front of you? I have my little cheat book here, so I can see the answers. I was looking to see how many questions there are. I'm going to check one more time and see if Lindsay ever did message me. No, it says she was on here an hour ago. I don't know. Well, okay. Oh, hey, Debbie. So the calves are red, and then so this one says ha. Yeah, ha is the answer. And then the little quote says, now he had to teach them to turn to the left when he shouted ha, and to turn to the right when he shouted what? Anyone know what the other one was? It's not get up. That's what I thought. I thought it was get up, cat, but it's not get up. I think that was when he just wanted them to go straight. And whoa would be stop. But what did he shout when he wanted them to go to the right? It was, let me tell you, gee. G-E-E, gee. At least I think it's gee. I think the audiobook narrator said gee. And she says, I've read and reread and listened to this series so many times. They're my comfort reads. Yeah, they are the epitome of comfort reads, for sure. Oh, she says, woe was not the answer. Yeah, woe was not the answer. So what the question was, what does Almanzo say to his calves to make them turn left? So ha was to make them turn left, and gee was to make them turn right. All right, next question. What kind of berries does Almanzo dig out of the snow and eat? I do not remember at all. Anyone? What kind of berries? Oh, okay. Now I see the answer. I remember thinking, "Ew, I don't like those kind of berries. I don't like this flavor." But it said he would dig them out of the snow to eat them. There is it's a lifesaver flavor. It's always one I didn't like. Yeah, Danielle, this is wintergreen. Yes, says nothing else was ever so good as wintergreen berries dug out of the snow. Hang on a second. All right, y'all didn't need to hear me cough. Okay. Next question. Who rides in the large bright red cart pulled by a white horse? It's funny. My husband and I have been watching the Waltons lately. We just finished watching season 1. Right after Christmas, we watched The Homecoming while we still had our Christmas decorations up. And I talked about this in a video that we wanted to just sit and enjoy our cozy Christmas decorations and everything. So we watched The Homecoming. And after we finished it, I said, I own the first 3 seasons of the Waltons, and I have season 6. I found them all at library sales. And I said, I don't even think some of them are open. I was like, do you want to watch them? He's like, yeah, sure. So we just started season 2 a couple of nights ago, and we might watch, 4 episodes a week, not every night or anything. We didn't watch any tonight, just as we have time, but it's fun. Oh, so what made me think of that is that there is an episode in the first season where they need some money for something. And so Mary Ellen has found some kind of a metal object of some sort. And so she offers it to her dad, and he's like, no, you keep it. That's yours. Well, she just goes anyway because she knows when the 10, yeah, Debbie got it. Yay, Debbie. The 10, and it's actually 10, Tin, but close enough. The Tin Peddler. So when the Tin Peddler is coming, she goes and meets him on the road, and sells this item to him. And so that made me think, is because it's exactly the same way as described here. So his cart was like a little house swinging on stout leather straps between 4 high wheels, or something to that effect. I mean, there's like pans and things. He's rattling as he goes, that kind of thing, at least in the Waltons. So I can't quite picture, I can picture like a little house on wheels, but the swinging on stout leather straps, I can't quite picture what that would look like, but anyway, you get the idea. All right, next question, number 9. How does Almanzo keep up with Father and Royal during sheep shearing? Oh, I thought that was cute. How does he keep up? Because, they're always ahead of him, and he's the one to put the last one away. So how does he, yes, thank you, the Tin Peddler. What does he do to kind of outsmart the rest of the family and get ahead of them when they're sheep shearing? Anyone? Bueller? Oh, yes, Mr. Brown was the Tin Peddler. Yes. Yeah, so Amy says he brings a sheep to the attic. Or yeah, he goes ahead and takes it to where he's putting the shear, the wool, and he just takes a sheep on up there, and they don't see him doing it. And I think that's really cute. He takes an unsheared sheep up the stairs. Yes, that was fun. All right, what does Almanzo plant? Sorry, what does Almanzo plant in the dark of the moon? I don't remember this one either. He hides the sheep up in the attic until they think they're done. Yeah, it was so cute. What does Almanzo plant in the dark of the moon? Anyone? Yeah. 4, 5. Yeah, all of you got it right. Pumpkins. Oh, no. But it's funny that you said peas, because it was either peas or beans that my mom used to tell me a story of her childhood, that because they went by the almanac, I mean, completely, and they planted everything according to the almanac. And so she grew up in the Depression, and they didn't have a lot, but she was the oldest girl of 11 children. She had one older brother. And so she had a lot of work to do. You can't be the oldest of that many kids and not be like the second mother, that kind of thing. But she was in 4-H when she was young, something, I think 4-H. And so her um 4-H agent or whatever encouraged her a lot, to like go to college and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, she was gonna, plant a garden, I guess, as a 4-H project. So she was gonna plant, was it peas or beans? I don't remember. It's one or the other. So she was all set to plant, let's say peas. And she goes out to plant them, and her mother said, "Don't plant them today. It's blooming season. If you plant them today, you won't get any buzz. They'll just bloom." And she's like, "You, that's just ridiculous. I have time to plant them today. I'm going to plant them today." She said that those peas bloomed and bloomed and bloomed and bloomed, beautiful blooms, and not one pea or bean or whatever it was, not one came on them. They were just blooms. And her mother was like, "Well, I told you." It just seems ridiculous, but wow. So yeah. Anyway, so next question. What do Oh, okay. So let me see. I'll read the little quote from the book. It says, "He watched the moon anxiously, for in the dark of the moon in May, he could stay out of school and plant pumpkins." So they let him stay home to plant his pumpkins. All right. Number 11. Who do mother and father visit for a week? I remember them saying it's time for us to have a vacation, but I don't remember who they went to visit. Who do mother and father visit for a week? Anyone remember? I'm looking to see how many more. There's just a few more. Anyone? It was a relative. Not Uncle Henry. It was Uncle Andrew. It says, "One evening at supper, father said, 'It's time Mother and I had a vacation. We're thinking of spending a week at Uncle Andrew's.'" So that is where they went. All right. The next one says, "What does Almanzo throw against the parlor wall?" Y'all probably get this one. What does Almanzo throw against the parlor wall? Amy says, "I must be tired because I remember once the answer's given." Yeah, that is true. So close. Yeah, a black paintbrush, or it was it's kind of a combination of both of your answers. It was the blacking brush. Says Almanzo didn't mean to throw the blacking brush. It flew right out of his hand. It sailed past Eliza Jane's head. Smack! It hit the parlor wall. And I would think it would just wipe off, but I guess it didn't. And so she ended up cutting out a piece and patching it. I hope that's not one of the future questions. I don't think it is. All right. Yes, the brush. Can y'all hear that? Somebody is going by with a loud engine. 13. What does Almanzo win first prize for at the county fair? Or this says country fair. So country fair. Cass said, "I thought that week was hilarious. The kids went wild with the sweets." Yeah, they did. And giving taffy to the pig, and the poor pig, and that had to have really happened. I just feel like these particular stories, I mean, she may have embellished them some, but I mean, you can't make that stuff up. And I just feel like those kind of stories that she included must have been things that really happened that he told her about. And how hard would it be, I think, to write somebody else's childhood stories? I mean, Almanzo, I just picture him as being this quiet, kind of reserved man, but he must have shared enough. I mean, I wonder if he always had been one to share with her his stories, and when she decided to write her own, if she already had those stories and knew that he had enough good stories to put together a book, or if she wrote her own and said, "Okay, tell me about your childhood. I need to know." What do y'all think? I think he probably shared his stories all along. I think he was probably one to, share stories across the dinner table with her, um, throughout their life, and share them with Rose and stuff like that. So, I mean, my husband is pretty quiet, and when we're in a group of people that he doesn't know, he's pretty reserved. But once he gets to know you, then he kind of opens up, and he'll, kind of joke around and everything. So I don't know. I feel like Almanzo was kind of like that too. So yes, his pumpkin, he had the biggest pumpkin, and it was a milk-fed pumpkin. Oh, okay. So here we go. Debbie said, and by the way, if you don't know, Debbie shares a birthday with Laura Ingalls Wilder. Her birthday was February 7th. When my mom was a toddler out in the garden, when her mom was planting the beans, mom put a bean up her nose, and it actually sprouted. Oh my goodness. Grandma took her to the doctor, and they found the bean growing. Oh my goodness. So that's just crazy. And yeah, because it's like a nice warm place. I would just be afraid that you would get sucked down and you would get choked. But I guess if you sucked it down, then it would probably go in your stomach. But it could choke you if you breathed it in. It could go in your lungs. That is just so scary to think about, things in your nose. But my goodness, it actually sprouted. Wow, that's quite a story, Debbie. I agree. He probably shared his stories all along with her. Yeah. So when she got ready to write, she knew that there would be enough stories that she could string together, to make a book. That's what I think too. All right. But you can disagree with me. What kind of shoes does father think Almanzo is big enough to wear when the cobbler comes? Because remember, he had been wearing moccasins. So what did he get when the cobbler came? We have 2 more questions after this. Yeah. I know. Sprouted in her nose. That's crazy. I think he shared his stories, especially because they had lots of time to talk. Also, they probably compared and contrasted their own childhoods. Yeah, they probably did. They absolutely probably did. Boots. That is correct. Everybody said boots. Hey, Lisa. Hey. And Dee says boots. Everybody says boots. So it says Almanzo could hardly believe it. He had wanted boots for so long. All right. 2 more questions. How much money is in Mr. Thompson's wallet? So this was right at the end when Almanzo found a wallet, and then his father said, let's go try to find him. He's probably, where did he end up finding him? At a store or something. It was interesting that his father was able to figure out who it probably belonged to based on his personality. Because he said he doesn't trust banks. So, because it wouldn't just be anyone that would be carrying that much money around. So someone who doesn't trust banks, someone who's cheap and doesn't spend it, they hold on tight to their money. And he, sure enough, figured it out. And yes, I was thinking it was just 1,000, but I was wrong. Y'all are right. It was 1,500. Yep. Y'all got it right. Let's go back now. It was at the wagon shop. That's where he, is that where he found him? They took all those sleigh and buggy rides. Time to talk. Yep. They sure did. No TV and internet. They probably did a lot of reminiscing. Yep. I think you're right. All right. 1 more question. What is the name of the colt father gives Almanzo? Anyone? Sorry if that's loud. There's a car out there that's loud. What is the name of the colt that father gives Almanzo? Agreed. Yeah, I love that he stood up for him too, because he knew Almanzo was a good boy, and it was good because kids at that time couldn't speak up for themselves. Now, I did think that Almanzo's reaction was a little bit because in the book it's like, I hated Mr. Thompson at that moment. He just like seethed with this righteous indignation. um, and that seemed a little over the top. But I guess for a boy who was doing the right thing and to be treated like that, you would feel bad. Oh, did you hear it? That loud car. I know. We live on a corner, so sometimes people will like. There's different people that work on cars or whatever, and so then they'll have to test them out and drive around the block. So it's crazy how loud it gets sometimes around here. And the answer is starlight. That's right. It says, and then suddenly the whole world was a great, shining, expanding glow of warm light. For Father went on, if it's a colt you want, I'll give you starlight. Yes. And y'all may have noticed that I've been saying Almanzo and not Almanzo. I wasn't sure because, I grew up watching the show and they said Almanzo, but that is clarified in a documentary that Dean Butler is interviewed on that's on YouTube, where he talks about how that when they were filming the show on that very first episode where he's introduced, the actress playing Eliza Jane accidentally says Almanzo instead of Almanzo, and they never corrected it. He says, I know we should have corrected it right then, but then they let it go, and then they just kept it. But the actual Almanzo Wilder pronounced his name Almanzo, which is why she called him Manly, and why people called him Manny, because it was Almanzo. So that's why I try to say it correctly. All right. I also loved the father's wisdom that he doled out to Almanzo throughout the book. Yes. And one of the things that Dean Butler talks about here is that he did a little bit of studying about Almanzo's ancestry, and there are some parallels to his own ancestry, which he thought was kind of neat. So anyway. All right. Thank you, Dee. Enjoyed the live chat. We'll be joining you again. Awesome. Thank you. I will be doing at least 1 or 2 lives probably during March Mystery Madness. And I talked about on Tuesday, because this was originally scheduled for Tuesday. And then I decided, well, Lindsay had said, I can do it anytime the rest of the week. And so apparently something came up tonight. So I just went ahead because I had said I had a live schedule. I thought, well, I'll just come on and just chat. So I talked about a couple of ideas that I would like to do live. And one of them is that since this year I'm going to celebrate 10 years on BookTube, I've got, I've got book hauls going back 10 years. And I thought it would be fun to kind of just come on here live and share my screen, because I don't know how to do it otherwise. Share my screen and go through some of my really old book hauls and see which ones I've read, see if I've read those books yet. 10 years later, have I read those books? And if I still have them, if I still want to read them, that kind of thing. So I think that might be fun to revisit. I've seen people do 5-year-old book hauls. But now I've noticed that there are a few booktubers that are talking about this being their 10th year. And there's some that I remember hearing about, back then. There were not that many booktubers. There were still a couple thousand 10 years ago, but it was a much smaller community then. And so only a few are still here that were, that were doing booktube way back then. So yeah, and I R1, but there were several people doing BookTube way before me. Probably is, I don't know, what year did YouTube even start? Was it like 2012 or something? Or no, it had to be before then. When did it start? I feel like BookTube maybe as a thing was around 2012 or 2013, but I started in 2015. Anyway, thank you all so much for coming. Let's catch up with the chat. I read that one. I'm glad you clarified that, because Amy at Amy's Bookish Life was bothered by the differences in how the name was said. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's because, and Dean Butler explains that in that documentary, that it was a mistake that was made by the actress, and they just went with it and didn't change it. But now when he, because he narrates the book, I listened to it on audio, he does say it Almanzo. he does. And he mentions that whole thing, again in the book too. Thank you, Amy. It was fun. Oh, thank you, Debbie, and I hope you had a great birthday. Thanks for being so supportive. Thank you, Alicia, for coming by, for stopping in and to chat and playing along. Thank you, Kat. Thank you for participating. And this is your third year. Awesome. I think this is my 6th year to do it. I think 2020 was the first year I did it. And I had kind of thought about it a couple years before, and I thought 4 days is not really long enough for a readathon. But I thought, you know what? There are no rules. Who says we can't have a 4-day readathon? So I just went with it. And thank you so much for participating, Anne. I appreciate it. So I am going to probably tomorrow. I have to work at 3:30, but I may film like a mid-month wrap up, because tomorrow will be the midpoint of February. And happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I hope you remember to get your loved one a card or some candy or some flowers or something. My husband already came home with some flowers tonight, and Emily and I bought him each a Valentine card. And I fully expect my father-in-law will knock on the door tomorrow. He has 6 granddaughters. He has 2 daughters, and then his wife and my mother-in-law, and he has 2 daughters and 6 granddaughters. Every year since I have been in part of this family, he has given every female in the family a heart-shaped box of chocolate. And so on Valentine's Day, we live a half an hour from him. The rest of the family lives close. But on Valentine's Day, he will invariably show up, and he'll just have them in a grocery bag, all 3 boxes of chocolate. He's like, here, happy Valentine's Day. It's so sweet. He's 80 now. I mean, it's just the sweetest thing. So I fully expect that tomorrow I'll get a knock on the door, and it'll be him with the boxes of chocolate. Anyway, so it says apparently YouTube started in 2005. Okay, I can't remember when I first found BookTube. So I first found it in early 2015 because I was doing book sales at the public library. I was in charge of book sales, and we were going to have a big book sale, and I was looking for ways to advertise. And I was maybe on Facebook or something, and I might have searched something about library book sales. And this video popped up, and I started watching it. And it was this girl. Her name was, her channel was the Gwendolyn Reading Method. And her channel's still up, but she rarely does any videos anymore. But she was just talking about how awesome library book sales are. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. And then I realized that she had a whole channel talking about books. And so I started watching more, and I just like devoured her channel. I was just watching it. And then I found out there are other people. There's a whole community of people that just talk about the books they read. And she was the first one, though, because she read a lot. She's the first person I ever heard of who read more than 200 books a year. And I just was wowed by that. And I mean, now, and I read over 300, but I just didn't know it was possible. And especially, with audiobooks and everything. But now she didn't do audiobooks. She was just a fast reader. And I remember just being wowed. And to this day, I think her reading method, and that's why she named her channel this, her reading method makes the most sense of any I've ever heard. Like, if you want to read a lot. So here's what she did. If you have time, stick around, I'll tell you. So she would start the day with, or no, I think she didn't read in the morning. She would take a couple of books to read on her lunch hour, because she worked at like an office job. So for the first few minutes of her lunch hour, she read what she called her level 1 book. Level 1 book is something that needs the most brain power. And she said she would just digest a level 1 book a little bit at a time. And then she would spend the rest of her lunch hour reading a level 2 book, which is just like just your general everyday book that, requires a little bit of brain power, but just, just something that would be, enjoyable, something she wants to read or whatever, but not like the most serious, like, book that really requires your full attention. And then at night, about an hour before bed, that's when she read her level 3 book. And that is just something that required no brain power, just something fluff, just for fun, just, light. And she could fall asleep reading it and it was no big deal. So she had these 3 levels of books. And by doing that, she read, over 200 books a year. And I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. And yeah, she was the first booktuber that I ever watched. So, and I watched hers and others for maybe 6 months or so. And I thought, I've got to start a channel. I never ever dreamed of doing anything like this. And I was even nervous to comment. So when I first got up enough nerve to comment, I tried to comment and it said, you must have a YouTube account in order to comment to this video. And I was like, oh, I didn't even know how to do that. And I tried a couple times, like, oh yeah, I don't. So finally I made a YouTube, like not a channel, but I just made an account so that I could comment. And then I thought, okay, I have to make videos. And I wasn't sure how to do it. I didn't know what to do or how to do it. My husband helped me edit the very first video. And ever since then, he's like, you're on your own. So I figured out how to do it myself. And I've just always done it myself. So yeah, it's been fun. All right, where did we get to? I don't know if oh no, here we go. This is where I got to. February 14th. Oh, YouTube's inception. So tomorrow is 20 years. Oh my goodness. How cool. Thank you, Donna, for that. Isn't that interesting that tomorrow is YouTube's anniversary? That's funny. And happy Valentine's Day to you. Thank you. This was really fun. Thank you so much. Valentine's Day was my older brother's birthday. And so he's 70 now. And would have been my late dad's 92nd. So they had the same birthday. That is really neat. I have one of my best friends from growing up, like elementary school and high school. Her birthday was Valentine's Day. I need to try to remember to wish her a happy Valentine's Day tomorrow. I'm not even sure if she's on Facebook or anything. But it's interesting that their birthdays was the same. My birthday was the same as my mother's. I always like to say that I was her best birthday present ever. And the other day, well, I guess it was this year at my birthday, I said something about, because, my family had my husband and my daughter had a big birthday party for me this past year since I was 60. And I said something about, how old my mother would be. And Katie, my youngest daughter, she said, oh, when was grandma's birthday? I was like, the same as mine. Please tell me you knew that. She's like, no, I don't think I did. I'm like, oh, come on. But anyway, yeah, my birthday was the same as hers. So, hey, Emily, you caught the tail end. You sure did. Thanks for stopping in. You still got here, so that's awesome. We had a good time. So we're thinking next year will be Little House in the Highlands, if everybody can get it. If you can't get a copy, just be on the lookout all year. It's by Melissa Wiley. And then for anybody who can get them, we'll do a read along of the books. And you know what I'm willing to do, if it won't get me in trouble, is and I might do it like on my private channel or something, so that it doesn't mess with the algorithms of my regular channel. And I'll just send y'all a link. Is just read it, do a chapter, like for the ones that, if they're not on Open Library and people can't get them, my voice is not the best, but I'd be willing to just read it. And I haven't even thought to check that. Maybe somebody else has read them on YouTube. We should check and see if any of those books are on YouTube, because honestly, they shouldn't care if somebody reads them, because they're not selling them. And if they don't want somebody else to read them, they need to publish them again. So that's a cool method of reading, levels of reading. I'm a BookTube newbie. I started watching BookTube toward the end of 2021, released my first video on my channel in October of 2022. And Kat, I don't think I knew that you had a channel, so I will go there right now and subscribe. I'm so sorry. I am terrible about looking to see if who has channels and who doesn't. I used to do that. Every time I get a new subscriber, I would look to see, or a new commenter, I would look to see if they had a channel, and I have not done that lately. Let's see, what is it? Cat's Novel Adventures. There you are. There you are. All right, subscribe. All righty. Yeah, wow, and you have over 1,000 subscribers. My goodness gracious. Look at you. Thank you for mentioning that. I'm happy for anybody to self-promote. If anybody else who's still out here has a channel, y'all go over and check out Kat's channel. My goodness. I am so sorry that I did not realize that. And you are always so good. How come have you ever asked Tiffany if you could come on any of the Kill Time with Cozy's live streams? You should, because she will send you the link. Danielle said, I share a birthday with two of my mom's sisters. Okay. Were they twins? I was born on their 21st birthday. I'm guessing they were twins if they were 21 on the same day. Nice. That's awesome. And Amy says, I would love a read aloud. I've searched and can't find it in my libraries. Okay. Yeah, I'll just plan on doing that. So you are welcome. I apologize for not realizing. Yeah, she's always saying, she's like, yeah, if you have a channel, I'll mention it to her, too, because, I can message her that you have a channel. And she's always saying, if you have a channel and I've, seen you and know that you're legit, and everything, then she could send you a link. Are you in the Discord group? Because she usually sends the links through Discord. I've been thinking of starting a channel, it says but I'm worried the technical aspect. I'm a techno dummy. I totally am. It's not that difficult now. With today's technology, you could just film it on your phone and you don't even have to edit. If you film a video on your phone in one take, then all you have to do is upload it to YouTube. And as long as there's nothing any kind of copyright infringement or anything, if you have a YouTube channel, you have a YouTube account, then you upload it. You can keep it private until you make sure that it's all good. You can go on YouTube, you go to YouTube Studio and you can watch it. And if it's good and you're like, okay, I'm happy with this, then you click publish and it'll go online. But now you want people to find you. So you need to come to like a live stream or something after it's posted but right before, you can say, hey, I'm uploading my first video this week. Everybody come subscribe so that I can get some viewers. And excuse me, I would recommend doing the BookTube newbie tag, because there are people who will search BookTube newbie tag and they'll watch all the new booktubers. Now what they're doing, let me just tell you this, they're hoping that if they watch your BookTube newbie tag, that you will subscribe to them and they'll get some new subscribers out of the deal. And they may or may not subscribe to you. They may just come on and comment. They're not doing anything wrong, but I just know, just because they comment doesn't necessarily mean that you've gained a new subscriber, but it still helps your algorithm and everything. So that's really the best way to get found, is doing the BookTube newbie tag. So, thank you. And Donna says, howdy, Kat. I read Finding Baba Yaga by Jane Yolen today for folklore. Is that something you're doing, Kat? Is that a challenge that you're doing? I want to say now that I remember you saying something like that. So see, Donna is on it. Donna is the best channel cheerleader out there. She's great. Amy says, I have a picture book channel, but haven't posted in a long time. I'm not good on camera or at editing. Okay, so you read picture books. I met a man who owns a bookstore in Oklahoma, and he reads picture books. His channel is Cowboy Short Reads, and his channel is adorable. He does this little cowboy short character, with the cowboy hat and everything. And he owns a used bookstore in Pryor, Oklahoma. And I have been in his store and put it on my channel, but it's fun. It's a fun thing to do. But I think, am I correct in that you can't allow, because it's geared for children, so you can't allow comments? Because if you put that it's for children, then they turn the comments off, I believe is what I think that's correct. Check out Tiffany's Discord. Thanks for a minute. Okay. Yeah. There should be a link to it, but if you can't find a link that works, next time, like next Sunday or when we're doing the live, just ask for somebody to put a link in the chat so that you can get in there. Yay for Donna. I host Folklore February. Awesome. Very cool. I'll have to check that out. And you're a retired librarian. Very cool. Very awesome. All right, y'all. It has been an hour and a half. So thank you all so much. 11 of you have hung out with me, and it says thanks for the pep talk. I might just give it a try. Yeah, it's just fun. And just let us know when when you're about to do it or whatever. In fact, we could I think, it's hard to just search your name and find you, but as soon as you like give yourself a profile picture and everything so that you're recognizable, then we should be able to find you. So that or if you like, okay, here's one thing you can do. When you get ready to start your channel, come on one of my videos and comment and say, just remind me, hey, I'm getting ready to start my channel. You don't even have to send me a link. Just say, I'm getting ready to start my channel. And then I can click on your comment and be taken to your channel, and I can subscribe. So you can do that anytime. You can just comment. And if you'll do that, then I'll have your channel so that I'll see if you, if and when you post a video. So Cowboy Short Reads. Yeah, if you go back to, I linked his channel in my travel vlog where I book shopped across the country in April. So if you go back on my channel to April, there's like a map, a road map, and like a books and a shopping cart. That was where I kind of chronicled my whole shopping through 15 states. And he's in that video, and there's a link to his channel in that video. He's in the one from the previous year too, but he's a nice guy. Yeah, Cowboy Short is what he goes by. This has been fun. Oh, and you found me through Mitzi. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, she's such a sweetheart. Thank you so much, Lisa. I appreciate it. And librarians are awesome. Yes, they sure are. And yes, so she says, thanks, Kat. All right, y'all. I am going to get out of here. It is, my husband goes to bed by 9:30. He's probably already in the bed. So I want to go tell him good night. And then I need to get my pajamas on and maybe read for a little bit. I'm the night owl. So he goes to bed when he goes to bed because he's got to get up early. And I like to sit up and read or, fiddle around and do whatever. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for participating in the Little House Readathon. I hope that you will participate in March Mystery Madness. One thing I forgot in my announcement video was to mention that we are also encouraging everyone to read a book that in memory of Scott Bryant, who was half of the Bookish Bryants, and they were co-host of March Mystery Madness several times. And so I'm gonna need to do probably next week sometime. I'll do my TBR, and I already know what I'm going to read in honor and in memory of Scott. And I still have my book in memory of Janelle that I said I was going to read last year, and I still haven't read that. So in addition to whichever path I choose for the March Mystery Madness theme, I'm going to read a book for, in memory of each of them. And I'm also thinking about doing the beefcake challenge. Have you guys seen that? I've seen a few people do it where you have like a big giant stack of books. So I've got my 10 books sitting over here, and I think I'm going to do the beefcake challenge. Anyway, y'all, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you are having a good reading month so far. I hope that you've enjoyed all that you read. And as I always like to say, I hope you're having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you. Have a good night.